Hey, everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Alison.
Hey now.
Greg, what are you doing here?
Hey, what do you mean? Alison,
Where'd you come from, Greg?
I came from the world of Childish, and I just want to make sure that your listeners know that you're just as wonderful on the other podcast you do.
What if they don't have kids?
Don't need them. You don't need them. A lot of our listeners actually tell us they don't have kids. We talk about sex.
We talk about all sorts of dirty stuff, but also parenting stuff.
Yeah, so.
Check out Childish. New episodes every Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
And now, live from Isolation Station in Burbank, California, it's New Year's Eve and the Plague, week 42 of the Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Alison welcomes a guest. He's a musician, meat sweeper, and member of Don't Stop or We'll Die. It's Michael Cassady. And he's a writer, comedian, good boy, but sometimes he's a little stinker. And also a member of Don't Stop or We'll Die, it's Paul Rust. Tone Zone is here to ring in the new year with a 1,000-yard stare and a bottle of whatever's left. I'm her husband, Daniel, saying hop on board the Love Bus. Say hello to your new best friend, Alison Rosen.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison Rosen. Alison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little grapes. Welcome to another exciting episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. That particular carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon by Lisa Lowry. And she says, in Spain and Mexico, when the clock strikes midnight, people try to eat 12 grapes as quickly as possible. Each grape brings luck for the 12 months ahead. So I have thoughts about that and about the safety of that, which I'll get to in a second. But if you would like to submit your carbohydrate for me to address you as that, all of that, and also bonus episodes, 3 to 4 bonus episodes a month. And also, I just had a Zoom party with patrons of all levels. Normally, they're just at a certain level and above, but I invited everyone, and it was super duper fun and special and profound, and just other behind the scenes content and whatnot. Patreon.com/Alison Rosen. I'm very excited to introduce my guests. I'm going to introduce them, and then I'm going to find out if they think it's safe to eat 12 grapes as quickly as possible. I personally think that around the May, June, July, August grapes, you might choke. And especially in a pandemic, you don't want to put strain on the hospital. I guess I just shared my thoughts now. It is Paul Rust and Michael Cassady of Don't Stop or We'll Die, of the brand new Song a Week podcast. And then also Paul Rust has been on my show before on a Monday episode, and he's an actor and a writer, and he's been in all sorts of things. And then Michael Cassady is an accomplished musician. Hello, guys. I should have introduced you individually, because now you're both like, which one of us talks first?
We'll
Mike,
do it in
let's
unison.
talk at the same time.
Yeah.
Hello,
See how
guys.
we just said all the same words and the same syntax, same rhythms?
Yes. Michael, hello. Welcome.
Hi, Alison. Hi, guys.
Hi, Mike.
Now,
Hi.
if people, we gave you some shit when you first appeared for the angle at which we're seeing you, because it's almost like a security cam. Like, we are way up and you are just
this
down
isn't my
there.
house. I just snuck into a house that had a Zoom capabilities, and I'm just doing a feed
Right.
from Beverly Hills.
Oh, that's why that time code is like spinning through at the bottom of the screen quickly. And
Yeah,
kinda
and it's
grainy
kind
and
of,
black and white.
and it's predator vision. You can just see my heat signal with the headphones on.
You seem so calm.
Yeah, it's a little bit high. It's looking down on me. I get it. I understand. I took the note. I'm gonna, I should have been standing up. Like I said.
What I was going to say is if the people listening want to be able to know what we're talking about, patreon.com/Alison Rosen, they can see the video. Now, I want to know, though, you snuck into someone's house. You're recording this from their house. Are you nervous? Because you seem so calm for trespassing.
Well, I got calmed down instantly because I made myself a big sandwich, and that always kind of relaxes me. And they had the kind of ice cream I like. They had Neapolitan ice cream with just a little taste of all 3 flavors that everyone loves. And then I came into the office, and there's pictures of my dad and my mom and kids in here, so just made me feel very familiar.
Did you?
This is my house, actually.
Oh, you broke it into your own house.
I think I might have broken into my own house.
I thought maybe you broke into your parents' house.
That would be, I think, more off-putting. They would have pictures of me up at times of my life where I would look at those photographs and not feel stupendous about myself.
Do you really
They got too many middle school and high school photos up, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I hear you. My parents have some big hair photos. Although they repainted at this point a long time ago, and they took everything off the walls to get it ready to paint or repaint. And then mysteriously, nothing of sentimental value ever went back up on the walls. Like a few actual paintings went back up, but no pictures. I should feel insulted by that, right?
Yeah, what do you think that's about?
Are they rewriting history here?
I don't know. Excuse me. All there is, look, I'm getting choked up. There's some pastels of racehorses. That makes it sound like they have terrible taste in art. I mean, I trust that it's this is a nice print or whatever it is of some equestrian activity. But what I'm saying is there's no children. I don't know what it's about.
I wonder if it's a little bit like if after you graduated college, you knew you couldn't keep up some of the posters and the things you liked in your dorm room or in the house you shared with people. You kind of had to put that aside because you wanted your peers when they came over to know, you weren't still hung up on college. You're a new person.
Oh.
I wonder if there's some maybe empty nest kind of you know what? I got to start a new chapter. It's not about the kids and the frames anymore. It is about the pastel horses that I really love.
Are you saying that I should take down my MC Escher of the hands drawing each other? And my Bob Marley's?
I should take down my Scarface 1983 poster.
Well, I'm keeping up my shining Jack Nicholson through the door and my Animal House posters, and I'm not going to apologize for it.
And I'll keep my Einstein sticking his tongue out poster.
Yeah. That was good because then people would go into that dorm room and go oh, but they're kind of smart.
Kind of smart, but also fun. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it might be you guys insisted on moving out and living your own lives, so we are wiping the slate. I mean, we're keeping your bedrooms basically the same, except we've started putting piles of our own stuff in them, but you won't be on our walls because the memories are too painful.
I like that because it's almost then it's sort of like when a band breaks up and somebody's like, I am not wearing your T-shirts anymore. I'm not going to be the fool walking around celebrating a band that doesn't want to be together, apparently.
Yes. I have a story about anger when a band breaks up. But first, I need to say hello and welcome to Tony Thaxton. You thought I was going to forget, Tony, but I didn't. I mean, I did for a second, but I didn't.
Yeah. I thought for sure. I was waiting to introduce myself again. But,
member of Don't Stop or We'll Die.
That's right. Mm-hmm. This is a true...
Our drummer.
You're doing double duty, Tony.
That's right.
Yeah, he's playing drums right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, they're right there. They just, I've cut them out of the audio for the listener, but yeah, you guys can all hear it.
And those two elastic knee bands with the symbol, little tiny monkey guy symbols that you are
monkey
clang together with your kneecaps.
Yeah, but every once in a while he'll get on that Dick Van Dyke one-man band outfit for us and give us a good time.
I like that you said he'll get up on that Dick Van Dyke.
So before we started, Paul was asking if we have any New Year's resolutions, and I said, hang on, I want to talk about that on the show.
Yes.
But I just realized I teased a story about drums and anger, and also we need to address grapes. So we need to get Neil Brennan on his podcast, How Neil Feel, on his videos. They have a little box on the side where they mention all the topics they're going to get to, almost like a news show.
That's
we need to get
satisfying.
that, and it would say like anger drummer, New Year's resolution, grapes.
That's good.
But instead of pre-planning it, like maybe he does, yours would be, can we sidebar that? And go, boop,
Yeah.
boop, 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 boop. And then a sidebar would start getting filled up, and then you go back. It's not like the Bill
like
O'Reilly thing where it's like, I plan on talking about it now.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're talking here. Okay, sister, we're going to sidebar this.
Wait, I say sister?
Yeah, you go, sister, we're going to sidebar this.
I love that.
Well, and your co-host is a nun.
Tony,
Who
It's
runs
Whoopi
the
Goldberg
salad
from
bar.
Sister Act.
a nun who runs a salad bar?
Yeah, so when you go sidebar, sister sidebar, you talk to her
nun
while
goes
she's dishing
over.
you out like raisins and tomatoes.
Yeah, what's at the side salad bar? That's like over by the soft serve ice cream.
Yeah, all it is carrot shavings, iceberg, and cherry tomatoes. Now, would it also have one of those bottles with the sunflower seeds in it?
Oh, most definitely.
100%.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like
I hate those.
Yes.
but
It's like a little open mouth like seed thing, like a carafe for seeds.
yes. Is it a carafe? Because what I'm
But it's
thinking is,
plastic.
I'm thinking that particular container that the seeds are in. I don't think I've ever seen anything else be in it. Maybe like lemonade at some kind of party.
Not any party I want to go to.
No, no. You just go to parties where you can kick meat around. That's one of my favorite stories. All right. Anyway, Tony, do you have?
Three sweepers we.
Can you do the song?
Three sweepers are we? Bringing it back to the Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah, that's right. Is there a real three?
I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming full circle onto the Dick Van Dyke. I'm gonna just come full circle onto that Dick Van Dyke right now.
For anyone who doesn't know, they were at a party and it was a famous person's party, and I always intend to ask you off air who the famous person was, and I always forget. So don't let me
Still
forget.
haven't told you.
I know. Would you tell me off air?
Future Oscar winner.
Okay, I've got to find. Oh, I have an idea actually.
I'm
But,
not saying that in my mind, the person whose party was that I believe that they will be a future Oscar winner. They
Yeah.
came to be in the future an Oscar winner.
Right. And you guys got asked to leave because you were kicking around a piece of meat and
Yeah,
singing a
not
song.
by the Oscar winner's friend, but not by the Oscar winner, by the friend. He was
Right.
saying, you guys got to stop using a stick to push around meat.
Yeah. Stop using my broom to push around meat that you got out of my fridge.
I think it was meat they were grilling and it fell onto the ground, and then we started pushing it.
Yeah.
Three sweepers are we. I think this also might have been the third party where we had gone to and like been shenanigans and it up at other parties. This
Yeah,
might have been like
that's
the straw
right.
that broke the camel's back.
What were the preceding shenanigans? Shenanigai.
I don't know. I think I remember just showing up and like people all like gently nodding to like Franz Ferdinand and not feeling included.
Well, that's not really a shenanigan, though. That's just more like not fitting. Maybe that's where the animus,
Yep.
that's what precipitated it, and it made you have to do the meat heist.
It was the trauma that I was
Yes.
later responding to by pushing around meat with a stick.
Yes. So the drummer anger story. I used to play in a band, and we were. It was in. Passions run high when everyone's in their early 20s, early to mid 20s, and we all lived near each other. We were
Oh,
all
you mean their age? Not just people who lived during the 1920s.
that too? But no, I meant we were way after that. But we were in our, we were young, and we all lived. We didn't all actually live together, but at different times we were all in it. It was a very tight knit group. And we I quit the band. It's a whole long story, but
Whoa! Why'd you quit the band?
Because I knew I wanted to move to New York, but that's not the full story. The full story is like I'm trying to make this succinct, but also give the full story. Okay, so I have a history or had a history of staying in relationships for far too long, and ones where I knew I should get out of them. And I was working on not doing that anymore and working on being like, this feeling that I'm having, I don't want to feel it anymore. And if I just get out of this situation, I don't have to feel it anymore. I don't have to continue this toxic relationship. As hard as it is, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. So that was like a new skill I was learning. And I think maybe I was a little too into that skill because one day I just woke up and I was like, I don't think I want to be in the band anymore. And that evening I told them. And I think that was a little bit too impetuous. But the drummer and I weren't getting along. And it had to do with a guy that I had hooked up with who was a friend of his that he thought was bad news. And in retrospect, he was completely right. And I was a lot younger than they were. He was trying to protect me by telling the guy to stay away from me, but I felt like he didn't have the right to get in my business and tell me or tell people what to do. And I have a lot of regret around that because I was just too young to really see the situation clearly. So anyway, so I quit. And then it's a long story, but the other band members stayed in the band. And then they quit. And anyway, he had this very nice custom drum head that had the name of our band on it. And he set it on fire and hung it from his garage.
Whoa.
Which is like a street we passed many times. But then here's the kicker. Time passed. I didn't move to New York yet. We all got back together and continued being a band. But there was never a custom drum head ever again. And no one ever mentioned it.
Wow.
He wanted her to be like, this is what you wanted?
Yeah. I think he was really angry and hurt.
On fire.
Okay. So I know what I was... Tony.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of bubbling sound effect, or could you get one so that when I say to the nun who's over by the salad bar, sister, sidebar this, it could go like... Blub, blub, blub?
You know what? Let me see if I still have it here.
Don't you think it'd be dangerous to eat a bunch of grapes quickly?
Yes.
You have kids.
That was my first thought when I heard that, too.
My son eats, goes to town on grapes. He'll eat, a whole thing from the grocery store in one sitting if he's allowed, which is not good. You don't allow him to do that, but...
he loves grapes.
He loves grapes. I would say eating them really... He chews them up and everything. You're saying, eat 10 grapes as fast as you can.
12. When
right,
the clock
that's what I meant to say. 12.
Strikes midnight, yeah.
But you can still chew them, though, right?
Yeah. Well, my question is a little bit you had mentioned, by the time you get to June, July, you're going to be struggling. Is the luck or karma or wishes for the month, are the grapes in order of the month, or are you starting with November or December sometime? And it's how November, how April, how October, how January, and it's randomized. How do we know?
Right. That's a really good question. I don't know. Maybe it's whatever you want it to be, but if each grape represents a month, I guess it's so basic of me that I just thought you'd go in order.
Yeah, I guess the choice of how you'd want to eat the month. I mean, I thought of the choking thing because, when you cut up a hot dog, it's perfect esophagus-sized. A grape
Nubs.
is a perfect esophagus plugger.
Yes.
So if you wanted to be maybe a little crafty, aka cheat, you could a year before lay out 12 grapes in the sun.
Oh my gosh.
So they become tiny little raisins. tiny 12 little raisins and you throw them in your mouth and go, yeah, I ate 12 grapes. No big deal, you piece of shit.
Yeah, you know what, Paul? I got it. I think I have one step further for you. How about we lay those 12 grapes out in the sun, and then we lay out our tongue, and cue up, hurt it on the grapevine, and let them dance their way into our mouths.
Now we're talking.
Oh, yeah. That's
One of
good.
them playing a saxophone. They'll be the California raisins in this situation.
Yeah. But I think people should be able to do it in any state they're in.
That's
Yes,
true.
regardless of, right. And any music. It doesn't have to be Motown.
You know, in a way, what you said, Paul, is yet another callback to our sister at the salad bar, because they probably also have a carafe of raisins next to those seeds.
Well, I think even when I was talking about the salad bar, I might have mentioned raisins. I sound like I'm shilling for big raisin here.
Are you?
No.
Yeah. Look, hold on.
Okay, look,
Looks like-
my dad interned at Sunkist this summer, but that doesn't mean I'm doing his Papa's biddings.
Hang
Wait,
on.
so you're trying to pull for your dad to get a job after his internship?
He retired to become an intern, and now he wants to go full 500 hours per week. It's wild.
Wow.
In all seriousness, Paul, didn't you play on Parks and Rec a character named Brian Raisins?
Yes, I did. Now that you mentioned that,
I love that name so much, and that popped into my head
I
just
believe
now.
that name was coined for by Harris Whittles,
Nice.
Yes.
who is very talented at giving insane names. And also, this might just be lore, but what I heard on Parks and Rec is they'll give every character a full name a lot of the times, because they know an actor, when they go on an audition, they don't want that resume just to say clerk. But if it says Brian Raisins, somebody goes, oh, that must have been significant enough to have a character. So that's just Mike Schur being a good guy, making sure people's characters have full names.
That's so thoughtful. Well, now that I know that you're shilling for Big Raisin and you played a character named Brian Raisins, I feel like I've been red-pilled. That's the one where you see things as they are, right? You wake up to the truth.
Oh, I've been red-pilled so much this year.
I love it.
That theme was originally written way, way back because they said, we need a theme for when somebody gets red-pilled. And they go, what? And I'm like, what's that mean? They're like, it's scary. Just play scary music.
Mm-hmm. And then they started with like, ree, ree, ree. And they're like, no,
Yeah.
I'm imagining something different, but still scary.
I like that. I think I saw before, and I saw Psycho at a very young age. I saw it when I was like 10, you know. And when I say a young age, I don't mean like too young of an age. I just meant I saw it at a young age. And
That's a good age.
But even then, I think I probably saw a dozen Psycho shower spoofs before I ever saw the real thing, which is such a funny thing when you're
I just watched the Sideshow Bob Cape Fear episode of Simpsons with my daughter today, and that was a movie. Cape Fear was a movie that I saw a little too young by myself in the basement of my dad's house, like in the country, and it was like bad.
Yeah,
I
Mike,
watched it by myself, and it was a bad choice.
That story, it was either, had he rented it or was it on HBO? I remember you telling me this.
It was on HBO, exactly.
And the part where
The premium.
Robert De Niro bites a chunk out of a woman's face, Ileana Douglas's face. You said, I'm Ilian getting out of here.
That's right. Turned it off. Well remembered. That's exactly what I spoke aloud in an empty, dark room to myself.
Your dad was like, what? Nothing, Dad. I'm masturbating. The cover is way worse.
And he said, prove it. And I said, Dad. And he said, okay, you don't have to prove it. I believe you. And then he went to sleep.
So let's do some fun facts because now you guys were on together last year, which was a great episode.
One of your best, a lot of people have said.
Oh, wait. Did you say is one of my best or my best?
One of your best, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say it was.
Oh, yeah.
One of,
Scholars say that.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. The critics. I have real mixed feelings about being such a podcaster's podcast and about being a critical darling, because the extra attention, of course, it's helpful, but it's like, I just feel like I'm under the microscope. Like sometimes I wish I could just be more like grassroots, like the Dave Matthews of podcasts, the David Matthews Band. But okay, so I think people are familiar with you guys. You're both very prolific. You appear on lots of podcasts, but just in case people aren't that familiar with you, I would like you each to share some fun facts about the other one. And you guys also, with your relationship with Tony, if you'd like to give me any Tony fun facts, and Tony, if you would like to share any fun facts. It's just a real fun fact-a-palooza.
Ooh, I love it.
And I'm going to go to you first, Paul. Please tell me a fun fact about Michael or about Tony.
Ooh, okay. About Mike, in his hometown, they had I don't know if Mike ever went to it, but they had a really run-down strip club called A Touch of Class. And the sign was like a wooden sign that was like painted with stencil.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do I say what town
maybe
it is?
needing a touch of class.
Yeah, like spray painted onto the side of like plywood.
What town was this?
This was a town called Fort Dodge, Iowa. Is a town called Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Oh, I forgot that you're also from Iowa.
I had a lot of troubles with Fort Dodge growing up. I think it's fine, actually, like looking back, but, I don't know. To what degree people don't like where they grow up, that was compounded, I think. Yeah, touch of class, that's very funny. That's true.
Did you ever go
I'm
there?
also from Iowa. That's where Paul and I met in Iowa.
We met at a touch of class.
No, we just met in Iowa.
We were both dancing at a touch of class and we met each other.
Yeah. It was my first night on the floor, and Paul was he was kind of the seasoned nightly and really showed me the ropes, and a lot of dollar bills went into my
It's Mike's first night, and
strings.
he forgets to bring Nair. But I'm, that's when I'm there to share my Nair.
That's too much information.
Have either of you guys been to a touch of class?
I have. I'll confess. I've been there.
Please?
I've been inside. I've been inside of Touch of Class. It's been a long time. I don't know what it would be like now. Perhaps it doesn't even exist.
How big was your Fort Dodge? Because my town of 10,000 didn't have a strip club, and I don't even think Sioux City, which is nearby and bigger, we're a very conservative corner of the state.
I think 25, 30,000 maybe people. This is like a Midwest thing that we do, is talking about populations of towns. I didn't learn that until I moved here, but oh, hey, my son is here.
Oh, the grape lover.
You want to say hi?
Hey,
What a
have
surprise.
A
Hi.
Let's see if it's okay. Aw, what a handsome boy. Look at those
Walter, do you want to say
curls.
hello?
Okay.
Anything you want
Hi.
to say before you go in the other room? Okay.
He heard you talking about strip clubs, and he had to come over. He's adorable.
He was baptized at a touch of class.
So what's it like inside? What was the circumstance of you going?
It was another friend of mine from high school and I going, mostly like, we got to see what is happening here.
How classy
This
is
was
it?
after we left for college and then we came back. It's pretty much what you would expect. Not bad floor, bad ceiling, bad bar, bad stage, bad, just, shouldn't have gone.
I like to imagine that it was like a front for like a Bible study group, kind of like To Catch a Predator style. Like two high school boys with boners walk in, and then there's like 3 moms holding Bibles.
And they're like, we'll teach you how to read that boner away. Read the good book until it goes away.
Yeah. Do you know how you get rid of the genesis of your boner? Read Genesis by Boner.
What'd you say, Mom?
Nothing. This was my idea, and it's clearly not working.
I'm trying to think of any other names of books from the Bible that could be...
Leviticus. Ruth. Job.
That could be what?
like made into double entendres.
Oh, yeah. Leviticus could be, please lick at this.
Please. It has to have please.
Tony, can you play the
Look
fun...
and lick at this.
Can you play the fun fact drop?
That's a fun fact.
That's good.
Mike, could I hear... And by the way, should I be calling you Michael or Mike? Because I just called you Mike. I felt like we were there.
Mike's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you're there. I mean, it's all fine. Michael, Mike, it's all good. Usually it's like people from high school and before call me Mike, and or people from college and before call me Mike, and people from LA call me Michael, or people I met here. Doesn't really matter. It's not bad. Mike's good. Anyway.
You could be part of the college club.
Okay, cool.
sure.
Thanks. I want to be someone who grew up in a town with a touch of class. Mike, could I hear a Paul or Tony fun fact?
Well, I'll reciprocate to Paul and say that Paul was the homecoming king.
What?
Ooh.
When he was in high school, he was homecoming king. Did you not want me to reveal that?
How dare you, Mike?
Oh my God. For real?
Yes, I just have a reputation to keep as somebody who would never wear a crown lined with ermine. Is that how you pronounce that? Ermine?
I don't know.
I know. I've read the word before. I feel like we need to hear that's a fun.
Like crown people wear with the ermine. Little,
Yeah.
Like,
the tuft thing.
it would. I was trying to make a joke, like because of PETA, I could get in trouble wearing a crown with the ermine. I don't know. It's stupid.
This is definitely a fun fact. I feel really like I've been re-red pilled. Okay. So you must have been really popular.
No, my class was very small. It was about 40 or so people, and so there was 5 boys on royalty to vote from, and the 4 of them were all like the same. It'd be a little like Best Picture style if like 4 of the movies were like...
So they split the vote?
Yeah.
Did you get any senior superlatives? Were you like best personality or most likely to
We
succeed?
didn't do that at our school because it would lead to hurt feelings, we were told.
Oh, that's it. I kind of like that.
I do like it because a lot of times people's stories about superlatives they're not stories of wonder and merriment. They're usually like, why was I called this?
Yeah.
And nobody ever likes to be known as one dimension.
Right. But still, did you
This
have
is how everybody saw you as one thing and will forever see you every time they revisit this yearbook. You're
most likely to lead a revolution? That's not me. I like to join stuff.
And it was a parochial high school, right? So it maybe it would be all Bible-y ones, and you'd be voted most likely to lick at this.
I did, yeah. That's why my school class size was so small, because it was also a Catholic school, and I don't know. I was goofy.
But did you like high school?
Yeah.
Big question.
Yeah, I think I did. Mike's heard this, but my mom was. Tony has heard this as well. My mom was my teacher, which that's not me saying to say I didn't like it. It was like I liked it. That was like a fun perk of it. She taught literature, and I had some really cool friends. I liked high school. I think
I have that in common. Oops, sorry,
it's hard not to shake off. They're just experiences of such highs and lows, peaks and valleys, that sometimes it's hard to kind of, I don't know, make clear of all that after 20 years.
Michael, did you like it? Did you like high school?
I think if you look back at the whole thing, I would give it, if it had to be binary, good or bad, I'd say good.
No, give it a grade. Give it a apropos grade.
B+. But Paul and I have that in common, that my dad was my band teacher, and having a parent be the teacher at the school that you go to comes with some perks, no? Paul, do you agree? It just you feel a little more comfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's part of what led to us being so extroverted as high school, is what I'm saying, is it was kind of home turf a little bit more. I feel like I would go with my dad and be there after school and be in the band room and be chilling out, and it'd be then when I was there during high school, I'd be like, oh, this is where I hang out, so I can kind of goof around here. It's not just a school to me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say I probably felt more relaxed around being around my mom than another teacher. I think it was also having your mom be able to have your, maybe this would be a nightmare for most kids, but my mom was willing to shit talk other kids she was teaching and other teachers that taught me. So I'm getting kind of good dirt during all of it. I don't like this teacher because blank, 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 and that teacher doesn't like her either because of blank, blank, blank. And
that's great.
And then my mom would come home and be like, my favorite thing was her impression of students always had this, no matter who it was, they always had the same voice, which was like, well, I didn't think we'd have to turn it in today because
Did you guys get to go into your respective teachers' lounges?
Not during school. It would have to be school's closed, no other students are there. You can maybe take a little mosey around them.
Yeah, same. I would say the teacher's lounge was not really the get at our school anyway. It was more fun to get into the gym, or if you could if I was in the school and it was just the custodians and dad is working, then getting into the gym was pretty cool because you just have this high school gym to yourself. That was kind of
yeah.
That's why I have superb basketball skills.
Did you guys ever do lock-ins?
Yeah, we did lock-ins.
I never have.
I'd hear about them.
We didn't.
And I wanted it so badly. And then by the time we finally got it, I was in high school. But it was for us to chaperone a lock-in for sixth graders.
It's an overnight thing.
Yeah. It's a big sleepover at the school. And the whole reason I wanted it was probably, I just imagined my sixth grade ass was gonna be getting laid. I don't know what I thought. I just
You're
thought,
gonna, they were gonna lick at it.
Happen that night was very exciting. But once I'm in high school and I'm with sixth graders, the romance should not fly.
Especially with your mom there.
Yeah, that's bad.
Were there downsides to having your parents be teachers at your schools?
Well, my dad went to teach at the community college after my sophomore year. So I only had him for a couple of years, and then I had him for as a teacher at this community college when I was in high school. So I kind of had the best of both worlds, honestly. I think if he had taught there all 4 years, we would have run into trouble. Maybe Paul can confirm this for me. But if, like, by the time I was an upperclassman and doing, like, whatever, football games and prom and doing all the stuff, he wasn't teaching there anymore. And I feel like that's maybe when the problems might have arisen, when I was, like, getting a little more brave, getting into trouble, I guess, more is maybe what it is.
Yeah, the downside would be, like, I could goof around in other classes and the teachers would be okay with it. But if I did it in my mom's class, she felt this pressure to punish me to avoid accusations of nepotism. So she would actually have to, like, lay down the law harder than other teachers were. The thing that really bothered me, though, was, like, it seems so insane to me to call her Mrs. Rust in the room. It just felt so weird.
Yeah.
And I was only doing it so other people would feel comfortable. And I was just like, no, this is so dumb. I'm going to call her Mom. And I get how for others that might seem like gross and infantilizing. But look at it from my end. It's gross in front of my peers to be like, Madam Rust.
Did you arrive at that? That's interesting because I had that exact experience, but I arrived at it on my own. My dad and I never talked about that ever.
Yeah.
But just over time, I was just like, calling him Mr. Well, he was Mr. C was the other thing.
Hey, well, that's cool.
Yeah, he was, not to brag, maybe a cool teacher at the school. That's him in the tuxedo holding a trombone there in the alleyway right there.
That's super cool.
Give the name
That's
of his
his
band.
brass quintet, Jive for Five.
Jive for Five.
Anyway.
Featuring Mr. C.
Mr. C, yeah. So,
but the drag was everybody was cool with that except for a couple people who, no surprise, these twins had a mother who worked at the school, and I'm sure their mom forced her to call her Mrs. Blank. So they didn't like me going around. Oh, God.
the fucking Blank twins. These assholes.
What were you going to say, Michael?
Nothing, only that I arrived at that on my own, like, just calling him this is crazy. I just have to say dad, and then I just had to get used to
That these twins being up in your shit?
the Blank twins. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they'd get upset when I'd call her mommy. Or when I'd go wham wham mommy mama bear.
Yeah. Wah, source of me.
Wham wham half of me.
There were a lot of kids, though, I feel like in my high school that, like, I was one of, there's definitely at least a half dozen I can think of off the top of my head whose parents taught at the school. And you were from a small town too, so that was probably, there's other kids there that are dealing with it. I would say high school was mostly good, and having my dad there made me feel better.
Yeah.
Tony, are you one of these high school likers too?
It had two phases for me because I started when I was a freshman. I was the new kid, and I hated it for like the first 2 years, and then in my junior year, I started playing in more of the school band stuff and made a lot more friends. And by the time I was a senior, I would almost say that I loved it. Like, actually, as you guys were saying all this, I was thinking about how cool my band teacher was. And same thing. We used to like just go hang out in the band room. Like, I would get to school early just to go hang out with people, and then we would stay late just to like. I can remember multiple occasions where our band teacher like coming in the room. He's like, "Go home! Like, why are you still here?"
It's like
That's
a
a
sitcom.
school and a teacher who are doing things right.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
Wow.
Allison, you didn't like high school?
I did not. No, I didn't like high school.
Not one bit?
I really felt like I felt like a misfit. And I had gone to a private kindergarten through 8th. And so it felt disorienting to me to suddenly be at like a big public school. And I just, it was just those were just awkward years for me, I think. And then I went to college and I loved it. Yeah. Like the way people feel like high school was their, like the best 4 years of their life. I don't want to say college was the best 4 years of my life, but I felt like this is what I always imagined the world could be. Like, I really liked not living at home anymore, even though I wasn't particularly far. I was only like, an hour and 15 minutes away or something. But I liked living on my own, and that's kind of in quotes. But it felt like independence, and everyone around me was smart and funny, and I really took to it.
Yeah.
But high school was not that for me. High school was wanting to, actually sort of like Tony, it was like, bifurcated a little bit. And like the first couple of years, I think I really wanted to be popular and I wanted to like run with the popular crowd. And then I sort of accepted that that's maybe not who I am really, and had a group of friends for the last couple of years, like good friends, and I was comfortable with them. So I'd say the last couple of years were actually okay. The first couple of years I felt like, what is this place? And I was very insecure and scared, and yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, I feel like maybe that is a comforting arc that most kids starting high school can maybe rely on, is that I do feel like probably, unless that's probably why people drop out, is that it doesn't get better with each year. But it's nice to think maybe high school does get a little easier with each year. It's funny to be like, as you accumulate power and status,
well, that's a little bit true.
It more.
Well, and it's like social status is never more important than in those years. Like later on, like now, like, I'm not trying to impress people in the same way because you realize what, but for a while it's hyper important because that's all you know.
Yeah.
And
I hope I'm on Hollywood
It is about
Reporter's
agency.
Hottest 50 under 50.
Yeah. When does that list come out? I think it's New Year's
Tomorrow.
Eve. But the more agency you have, the more freedom, or at least the illusion of freedom you feel like you have. And definitely what you're saying, Alison, about college, where it was like, oh, man, in high school I had certain freedoms, and then you get to college and you're like, oh, wait, now I can kind of do whatever. And it's like, oh, I get to live out every whim, and also everything that happens now is my fault. So it comes with a little more gravitas, maybe.
I think the magic for me of college was like you're talking about, the agency and the independence that you do continue to have for the rest of your life. But in college, you aren't yet hit with the sort of existential dread of like, oh, but I'm just a tiny person in this vast world, and really nothing amounts to much.
Right.
I don't mean to be like the most wettest blanket in the whole world. I just mean when I got out of college, I once again was hit with that feeling of like, how do you make meaning in the world? Whereas everything sort of came with meaning in college for me because it was a pretty small school.
Yeah. There's a real the sense of purpose, why am I here question is pretty easy to figure out once you're at college. For the next 4 years, you're just like, it's here. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, I guess.
Yes.
And so that's relaxed. Yeah, I have thought, though, it's funny that when I was 19, I was trying to learn stuff that my age now I still can't get my brain around. Like taking philosophy courses and not knowing what the fuck is happening. I remember they were talking about we've as time goes on, we accept the rigid institutions that are given to us or something like that. I was like, oh, they're like clothes and buildings. You put on clothes you identify a building being there. And I thought, okay, so I guess if I didn't want to do that, I'd get naked and I'd just walk and I wouldn't pretend there was a building in front of me. And then I thought, I guess I would just end up scraping my penis. Like, this is what I thought was going to college was for. It's like imagining, no, I can't. I have to wear clothes because I might scrape my penis.
The first part of you that gets scraped when you hit a building.
If I hadn't gone to college, I would have, on my own, stripped naked and ran into a building and scraped my penis.
Oh, yeah, all the other kids on the of the Iowa campus walking around with scraped penises because they didn't get into that philosophy course.
He was my favorite Saved by the Bell character. There was Zach Slater, then their kind of dorky friend scraped penis.
Yes. Yes, this is good.
I might be getting that name wrong, Zach, but I'm pretty sure it was.
So, wait, Tony, do you have the bubble sound?
Yes. You mean, would you like it now?
Let's go to the sidebar.
That feels good.
Oh, I like it. It's just the perfect length. Now, I think I was going to use it for sidebar this, but we're also just going to the sidebar because New Year's resolutions is on there.
Right.
Do you guys typically make them? Do you have any this year? I do have some. This year, like, I just kind of refuse. This year has been so weird and abnormal that I didn't do I didn't do my normal year-end episode. This is actually the very last episode of Alison Rose's New Best Friend that will air in 2020 because this is airing on New Year's Eve.
Ooh, Bon Voyage 2020.
That's right. Kiss our butts.
Yeah, kiss our little heinies.
That's right.
Your view mirror now, 2020.
I just for some reason I guess I'm resisting the whole passage of time, but also I want it to pass. I don't know. So anyway, all of that is to say I have the smallest of resolutions, which is I had stopped making my bed and I just recently, like in the last week, started making it again. And already I feel so much better when I walk by and I see that it's made. Like, I used to be an ardent bed maker. If I get up before my husband and he's still in bed, I'm itching for him to wake up so I can just go make the bed. Like, I make just my side of it. Sometimes I want to make it with him in it. I left all that behind me, and now I'm back, babies.
Well, do you think that was just kind of like without the armchair analyst, but it's just like there's sometimes where I kind of like, I just don't want to shower anymore. And I realize it maybe is a little bit of low-grade depression.
Yeah, it could have been a little bit of depression, a little bit of malaise. But I think it started when I had my son, because all of a sudden sleep wasn't a thing that was happening during the normal hours. And so it didn't make sense to make the bed in the morning when, as soon as my husband can take the baby, I'm going to go back to bed. And so I was like catnapping when I could and not really sleeping through the night. So it didn't, to me, making the bed is like a way of saying my day is starting now and I'll be returning to this at night. Whereas I feel like for the last 4 years, I could always go for a nap. So maybe I'm turning a corner and actually committing to like being awake during the day.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I hear you about the 2020 was so tough. The whole year feels like it was like a resolution because it was all sacrifices and giving stuff up.
Yeah.
So the idea of having to do more of that at the end of a whole year of it doesn't sound quite appealing. So.
File that under Kiss Our Tushies. No, what'd you say? Heinies.
Heinies.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have any?
You can tush my hiney.
Hein my tushy.
Take me tushy, I'm home.
I think that's right, Allison. That self-care is really hard to do, and I Did my best this year. Everybody did their best. You got to be okay with that. But this year was a lot. I moved, and my kids and I moved, and we're all like, I think it's just about self-care. I think I'm just gonna. I think my resolution, even though kind of as a rule is something that maybe I'm like you or not. I just kind of I half believe in that. Like the New Year's resolution thing always feels slightly empty. Mm-hmm. But being a little nicer to myself, I think, is just the closest I come to having a New Year's resolution. And this year was pretty good. I think that I did okay at it this year, but that's the thing that I would like to get better at doing.
That's a really good one.
And everybody should do that. Everybody should just and I think a lot of people assume that, but this year's a wash, man. Nobody can give themselves too hard a time about anything that happened this year. It's everything.
I think the next 2 years are a wash.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, as in, for 2 years, people could treat it like their birthday week or whatever.
Be it easy on yourself. Yeah, maybe you didn't exercise as much and blah 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 blah. Whatever. Nobody got it all. I don't know.
I didn't
That's kind of a non-answer.
Much this
What's
year.
that?
I didn't exorcise as much. I did some exorcisms,
but you didn't get them all.
I didn't do them all.
Are the possessed people, are they angry at you, at your customer service?
Well, yeah, the people who initially hired me and I didn't fulfill the contract, they feel a little in the lurch. I shouldn't probably say their name, but I'm sorry, Mark Harmon's family.
Now, was that weird for you doing exorcisms over Zoom?
Yeah, but hey, it made sure I didn't get puked on. I liked it.
Tony, what about you? Resolutions?
I hadn't really thought about it until you brought this up, and then I immediately thought of how I'm not normally a big resolution person, and I think that at the end of last year being so rough for me personally with divorce and a friend dying, and it was a rough time, and I really those things. It was the cliche of like. This is like a wake-up call. I need to go be enjoying life more and just get out there and grab life by the balls and just go for it. And so that was kind of my goal for 2020. And we know how that turned out. So maybe I shouldn't really make resolutions.
Maybe you grabbed 2020 by the balls a little too tight.
Yeah.
It couldn't function.
Yeah, it felt like, I know everybody obviously experienced this year in a similar way. But after the way that year ended, once the pandemic hit, it just I felt like I was getting pranked. It was really? Those things are now a worldwide pandemic. Not that I saw any of these things coming, but that was definitely not.
If you want God to prank, make a plan. That should be
good.
the new expression. It does feel like a prank. That's funny, Tony. The cosmic prank.
Yeah, a real cool prank.
Yeah, God punked us.
Yeah, and looking back, we all see that it's pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like Eddie punked. We'll look back on it and laugh. Actually, that was whenever I watched Punked, I always had that experience where I'd be watching, I'm like, I hate this, I hate the show, I hate prank shows, I hate the celebrity bent of a prank show, the sucks. And then when the prank would get pulled, I would always find myself just with this dumb grin on my face. I'm like, my face is doing the grin again. I love seeing them get pranked.
I guess, how are you guys feeling about everything? Because I feel mentally, I think I feel more hopeful. Like the vaccine is here, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But emotionally, I feel fairly low. I'm just so over this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Similar, like this like slight light at the end of the tunnel is definitely helping, because I always need that thing on the horizon to look forward to, and it's been very hard to have those things this year. So that's helping me a bit. But also, yeah, like I've also been like the most emotional I've ever been in my entire life this year. And yeah, it's been extremely hard at times. And we're recording this right after Christmas. It was the first time I've ever spent Christmas completely alone, and as we know, I love
Santa came.
Well, that's true, yes, but he was in and out though. We didn't get to hang.
He was in a hurry.
Yeah, but that sucked. That was right. Like, it didn't feel like Christmas at all, and I love Christmas, and so that was a real bummer, and like it sucked to just feel shitty on Christmas. And I mean, I got to be with family last year on Christmas, but that was like fresh into the divorce, so I felt shitty last year on Christmas too. Right. So
yeah, and those holidays are already preloaded, so even if things are going great, it's a roll of the dice a lot of the time with a holiday like that, because it's dependent on the emotional placement of you and every other human being that's in the room in a holiday, and family is tough. Yeah, I don't know, Tony, I feel like you and I had parallels, maybe an exaggeration, but major life events happened during this time. Separation and moving and ends of relationships and new relationships. And this was the first Christmas that I spent with my kids at our new place. And I have shored up, I think, my expectations pretty well. Like, what I'm trying to say is I'm not expecting much anytime soon. Like, if we get a vaccine by the end of next year, that's about where my head's at. Like, by the end of next year, maybe we can start feeling like we're turning it around. And I have a hard time letting myself expect anything better than that. That sounds a lot bleaker than it is. I thought I was saying something kind of positive. I was just like, oh, I'm just not expecting anything. Like, I'm fine. I'm getting myself and my family to a place where we're good. We're fine.
Yeah.
We can do this. We figured out a way to make this year work. We'll figure out a way to make next year work, and hopefully it'll be better, but it might not. And if it's not, we'll be fine. That's kind of where my head's at. It sounds, I meant that to sound so positive. That sounded so bleak.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, you're talking about acceptance.
Yeah, basically. Like, yeah, nothing that I have done emotionally, none of the emotional energy that I have spent has altered the course of things, so I've stopped spending emotional energy on it, basically. And it's like, yeah, it sucks, for sure. Every conversation starts and ends with the caveat of like, how you doing? Oh, great, except with the thing of like, everything sucks. And I don't have it near as bad as so many people. None of us are, everybody has their own struggles, but we're good, I guess, is what I should have said. We're good. We're gonna be fine. And when things kind of get back to normal, then that's just like a bonus. Like, oh yeah, we can like go to playgrounds without having a like vast layered emotions about watching my kid go on a jungle gym. Like,
right.
It could just be a simple thing again. That'd be very cool. Playing live music.
Yeah.
Hurts to not play live music. We pulled it off a couple times this year, but it was a struggle.
Yeah, those were fun, but it's still not the same as playing to an audience. Yeah.
Not the same.
What about you, Paul?
I feel good. I think like the thing I've really missed, or it feels really weird, is it just doesn't feel right for like 10 months to only be talking to people I already know, kind of share my opinions on the matter. Even the matter being the pandemic. And the fact that I can't like eavesdrop on, like, I could like go in on other people's Twitter accounts and read, but that's not the same because people are kind of doing their own fronting a little bit on social media. So I'd really like if just hearing how two people I don't know feel about something else that I'm not experiencing would be a great relief right now.
Yeah.
Like some vicarious kind of like getting out of my own space, that being both physical and mental, would be nice. Yeah.
Oh, I'd never even thought of it that way, but that is something we're all missing.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've thought like our worlds have become so small, but I never thought actually about the fact that like there's no eavesdropping happening.
Well, the thing that was nice about ooh boy, I don't mean this, but just like comforting of post 9/11 was just like you were just surrounded by people talking about it constantly, and so you were able to kind of like tap into some like felt like some healing was going on. It just feels a little bit like, I don't know, left a little alone with because you're just you're hearing about it, but you're hearing about the people you would assume are feeling things. Like, I'm not, like, really getting to know how somebody on my campus bus was feeling about something new, but...
Right, we're all isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do Hey Go Fuck Yourself, because I think we all need to tell some people how we feel. And then we'll bring this one to a close and we'll say goodbye to 2020 and hello to 2021.
Well, I couldn't have rung it out with three better people. Thank you so much for having us, Allison.
Yeah, this is incredible.
This was super fun, but we're not saying goodbye just yet.
Oh,
so
I know. I just
you end up get a pre-goodbye in.
We like to say goodbye many times.
I have to point out, again, patreon.com/AlisonRosen. Paul, your chair, are you on like an antique wicker chair?
Is it squeaking?
It's me. It's my fault.
No, it's not that. It's that when you went to the bathroom, I noticed the chair and I was like, look at that. That's so different than like it's the opposite of a modern computer chair.
It's a nice, we pulled this in from the dining room.
It is the very opposite of a computer chair. Somebody will edit it together.
Another Dick Van Dyke reference, because isn't that from Music Man? Or is that from Mary Poppins?
That actually might be from
Studio 60.
Gilbert and Sullivan. It's from
Pirates of Penzance.
Yes. Yeah, that's from the opening of an episode of Studio 60.
I think it's, right? Is it Pirates of Penzance or HMS Pinafore?
Oh, yeah, Penzance.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, who wants to go first for Hey Go Fuck Yourself?
Ooh. Well, I'll go because this is COVID related.
Okay, do it.
I've just noticed, and I think it's because people's interiors feel tightened and smaller, that when they go out into the world, some folks don't feel like walking on the sidewalk. They like to walk on the street, and I have noticed a big uptick since quarantine. So I do think it's some sort of like stretching my legs out. And the Go Fuck Yourself it's happened probably like 30 to 40 times where I'm driving down the street and I have to like wait for some dumb shit who's not paying attention to like walk off to the side. It ain't ever been a gal. It is always a dude.
Any sort of commonalities among these dudes?
Tall
dudes. So
penises all scraped up.
Hey, tall dudes taking up room on the street. Now, normally you would say this. I should have prepped you. You do it. So say that, and then Tony will play it. Like, yeah.
Hey, tall dudes, walking on the street. I got one thing to say to you.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's
Good.
right. That's
Good.
nice.
Michael, do you have one?
I mean, my go-to, I definitely have some. My go-to feels like a Nain or something in terms of all the vast global calamities that we were just discussing. But the thing that frustrates me the most frequently are gas-powered leaf blowers.
That's what I was going to say.
Backpack things. Really?
That's awesome.
Oh, how funny.
For many years, it's been essentially since I moved to Los Angeles that this is very, very prevalent because there's a lot of groundskeeping in Los Angeles. I think more groundskeeping than is necessary, but I'm grateful for somebody's getting, that's a job. So a job is good. That part I like. But these noisy fucking backpacks that blow blue smoke and burn gas on their backs, and what they're doing most of the time, and this is over several neighborhoods that I've lived in Los Angeles, they're blowing like grass trimmings and leaves off of the sidewalk is the mission. To get the sidewalk clear of leaves. By God, we must not have leaves on the sidewalk. And it's worth 20 to 50 minutes of high volume work to get the fucking... It's leaves. And then they leave, and then they depart, and other leaves fall, and it's so fucking pointless. It really frustrates me. I don't understand why they're moving the leaves. I don't understand why they need a gas-powered thing.
It came out recently, too. It's super, super anti-green. It's like the amount of pollutants that those pipe out are like equal to like something like an American factory per day.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I believe it's terrible. It smells terrible. It sounds awful.
It's worse than a car because the way it processes it, it's worse than a car.
Whatever. I know there's electric ones, so those are loud too, and maybe the noise is more my issue than the gas, but I pin it partly on the gas because that helps me stand on a higher pedestal about my gripe.
Sure.
Maybe more of a universal gripe than I understood, Tony. You said the same thing.
Yeah.
But, Mike, you got to do that. Hey, so... Yeah.
Okay, so, hey... all of you hardworking, fine people that are being told to or choosing to use a gas-powered leaf blower?
Hey, go fuck yourself.
That's right.
Felt good.
Tony, do you have anything to add to that?
Not really. I just have this specific guy that lives across the street from me in my neighborhood that, like, he's just obsessed with his yard, and it's just, like, he does it personally, or sometimes he does hire people. So it's like, it seems like he runs his leaf blower every day, multiple times a day, and it's so fucking annoying. And, I do a lot of recording at home, too, and it's always like, seems like the second I go to start recording something is when he'll start his leaf blower, and it drives me insane. This guy's so obsessed with his yard that there have been multiple times I have seen him just sitting in a lawn chair, not facing the street, facing his house, and just, like, sitting and, like, looking at his house and his yard.
I want to kill him.
Maybe we should.
Sounds like he's got some Zen moments in his life.
All three of us are dealing with, I guess, what the root of everything is just like some small dick dude trying to change his world by annoying others.
Tony, do you need to play the drop?
Yeah, I'll just say, hey, my neighbor Craig.
Hey, go fuck yourself.
You guys all
that's
had
an awful way to treat Craig Kilborn.
I was going to say, okay, yeah. But also, on the other side of you, Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah, he's fine.
So I didn't
He's a
know which
delight.
one you were talking about.
I really can't think of there's Craig Robinson. Those are the only Craigs I can think of.
That's a good one, Craig Robinson.
Craig Bierko.
Oh yeah.
What about my Uncle Craig?
Craig of the Creek.
Yeah, Tony's Uncle Craig.
Yeah, thank
Tony's
you.
Uncle Craig, but that's not your neighbor, right?
No.
Craig, that kid in my class who told me he pulled a prank on Santa. Okay, liar.
Oh, I got to tell you guys. So last week I talked about I have sort of ongoing misgivings about Santa and like how much we want to really do Santa Claus. And I don't mean that in like the Dick Van Dyke. I just mean like how much do I want to really lie about stuff, even though we are trying not to that much, but Elliot, my older son, is just very into it, and we didn't have to do much, but he is very into Santa. So anyway, despite my misgivings, this morning he was sitting on the couch next to, so I have a almost 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. And so the almost 2-year-old, his favorite thing in the world is to sit on the couch because he likes to be at like the same level as everyone. So he's sitting on the couch having just the best time just sitting there. Elliot comes up, sits on the couch next to him, and starts in this very subtle way taking his elbow and holding it against Owen's elbow and like pinning his arm to the couch. Just very like in this tiny little movements, bugging the fuck out of his baby brother. So I was telling him not to. I was like, Elliot, please, and he, no matter what I said, he wouldn't listen to me. And then I said, Elliot, Santa doesn't like that. And he immediately stopped.
Wow.
So
That's awesome. My neighbors this year introduced me to the concept, which really worked well, that all the parents got Santa's phone number this year, and we could text him at any time. So anytime like something was going down, you could go like, I better text Santa about this, and they'd be like, oh, but no. It was very effective.
So did you do that?
Yeah. And I texted Santa, and they didn't get anything. They got 2 big dog shit bags of coal.
Oh, wow.
I remember in 2nd grade when I found out Santa didn't exist, I remember thinking, like, you guys already got me stressed out about church. You don't have to add Santa. I'm already trying to be a good boy so I don't go to hell. You don't need to add, like, gifts into the equation.
You guys, it was so nice having you on the show. This was really
truly.
You know what they said last time you were on. That was the best episode ever of my show.
That's what they said.
They said that,
but they're going to say it again. They're going to say this one topped that one. This is why they're on the 50 hot 50 under 50.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, Alison, you're so funny.
So much
and
fun.
you're such a great host and interviewer. Thank you for it's always a pleasure having us on.
Thank you.
Cool
you guys will have to come back more often, and everyone should go listen to Song a Week.
Oh, yeah. Listen to some of Tony's drumming, and it's a fun idea. It's kind of a bite-sized podcast where episodes are only about 20 minutes long. We just kind of goof off at the top, and then we do a whole brand new produced, slick new song every week. It's been really fun.
So yeah, Paul, our band Don't Stop or We'll Die, a podcast produced by familiar favorite Tony Thaxton, and music produced by the great Amin Zarukian, who plays with Don't Stop or We'll Die also. Very talented guy. Every Wednesday we release a brand new song. It's really fun.
Do you have trouble coming up with a brand new song each week?
Not so far.
Not yet.
So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say part of the inspiration for doing the podcast was that we had a lot of songs. Paul and I just had a lot of songs written, and if nothing happened with them, we would get together and jam and write stuff, and then that piece of music would just kind of flitter off into space, and nothing would ever happen because it wouldn't go on an album necessarily. But now that's what the podcast is about.
Well, I love it. I want to remind everyone that I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Alison Rosen, and I would like to say hello and welcome to my new patrons: Christine R, Veronica, Joey N, Juan S, Hope H is now at a higher level, Marla K is now at a higher level, and Nick B is now at a higher level. So welcome and thank you. You guys are the best. It was such a fun Zoom party, and I expect to be doing all sorts of fun things in 2021. And the way I phrase that makes it clear that I don't know what they are yet, but there's ideas in the works. Follow me on social media at Alison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. If you like what you're hearing, please make sure you're subscribed. Tell a friend, and if you were feeling so inclined to review the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, that helps out so much. Also, check out my other podcast that I do with Greg Fitzsimmons. It's called Childish. And also my Amazon storefront, amazon.com/shop/Alison Rosen. Again, that's amazon.com/shop/Alison Rosen. it's a collection of stuff that I love and that I use and that I recommend. You can shop the specific podcasting gear that I use, the makeup that I use, all that kind of stuff is there. And get my book, and I'm on Cameo. Okay, I am plugged out. But I do have to say, thank you guys so much for an amazing 2020. You are the best. Michael Cassady, tell them where they can find you. And you plugged the show, but any other plugs you'd like to do?
You can find me at Michael Cassady on Insta and Twits. Listen to the podcast. And keep your eye on the Twitch. Maybe we'll be doing some fun stuff. I played some holiday music. Maybe we'll be doing some more piano stuff.
Oh, yeah. I meant to ask, you have Harris Whittle's piano now?
I do, yeah. I kept it over at UCB Sunset for a while, and now it's here. It's back in the workshop. It's great. It's awesome to have it here. I've been playing the shit out of it. I can't stop. It's great.
That's
a good
awesome.
instrument.
Looking at your
Harris
Instagram
lives.
stories and watching it get lifted downstairs caused me anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tense photograph. I didn't move it, but
Well, it's hard for me. My dads are Laurel and Hardy.
yeah.
They had traumatizing experience.
Two daddies, no mommy. That's what they always
My
say about
daddy's
you.
a nobody. No, at Paul Rust, and then check out the Don't Stop or We'll Die podcast song of the week.
And Tony?
My podcasts, in addition to Song of the Week, my podcast Bizarre Albums every week, Twitter and Instagram at,
Tony Thaxton.
and that's it.
Thank you guys so much for being on the show. This was so much fun.
Thank
Listeners,
you.
thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show?